And then we switch to our next economic operator. He is general manager of TTS, Transport Trade Services. He runs the Austrian office. His name is Herfried Leitner. And Herfried, you are probably representing one of the biggest operators on the Danube. So it'd be interesting to see what you have to tell us about this part of the world, which for me often is so different from what we have on the Rhine. But enlighten us and take us with us on the journey on the Danube.
Yeah, I don't know. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Herfried Leitner, and I will tell a little bit, bring you closer a little bit the Danube and digitalization in the Danube. Yeah, Henk, I think it is true. Danube is a little bit different. I think also because there is another dimension of problems involved when we are talking about inland navigation, and that is that we have outside borders inside one river segment. So we have with Serbia, and we have Ukraine, and we have Moldova with non-EU members. So it is very, very difficult, I think, to overcome that borders, also in respect to all the problems, the legal problems which we have with digitalization, and then with the acceptance of documentations through third-party countries. But let's come to the presentation. Very shortly, who we are, what we do. We are operating an own fleet of vessels and barges, so we are having around a fleet of 500 units. We have some motor cargo vessels. We are operating some pontons. We are operating some ferries, and our transport performance is approximately, we're transporting somewhere around 10 to 12 million tons per year as TTS, and we are having around a performance of 15 billion ton kilometers per year. Beside that, we do everything around inland navigation. So we do shipyards, we do ports, we do operations, we do logistic services with trucking, we do bunkering, we do dredging, we do everything around river transportation services. So you can see that we are a truly, I think, river-focused organization. That was the first hat I'm having on here. The second hat I have on here and standing here in front of you is with regards to Port Danube International. It's a non-profit business association, 12 years already existing. And what we do is we try to get the actors on the Danube together and to use the potential of the Danube waterways to a greater extent than what we do today. So by that, we are having around a membership base of around 200 businesses, and we are trying to get these interests together with the authorities to make something positive for the Danube. Coming into the problem of digitalization and the Danube, I think it is very important to understand that for us as private businesses, it is very important to look always at the reason why do you invest into something. And I think for investing into digitalization for private businesses, it is quite important to understand that we have two big targets. The first big target is the NAIADES 3, so that means we are obliged practically to deliver to the politics, to the policymakers, an increase of 25% until 2030 and 50% by 2050, which is by itself a huge challenge. And where we come to the second problematic, and that is that we have the Green Deal, and the Green Deal will mean to all of us that in the inland navigation sector, we will lose quite some important part of the cargo. That is what you can see in the red parts for the Rhine area and for the Danube area. We will use all the coke we are transporting. We will use all, maybe not all, of course, there will be always some part to be transported by the rivers, that is clear. But we will use a huge part of the coke, of the oil, of the mineral oils, of all the derivatives, which are representing today one of the biggest groups of products which we are transporting by the rivers. So how do we compensate that with a huge fleet or as an industry, as a sector? Some say let's go to the low-hanging fruits like high and heavy. High and heavy is good. High and heavy is also where we try to access since many years, and we are competing quite successfully as inland navigation sector in high and heavy, but it won't compensate for millions of tons. That is impossible. Some say go into new cargos. I'm not sure if new cargos are so easy, because new cargos for I'm 12 years in the inland navigation. New cargoes I didn't meet so frequently on the rivers. So it means if we get new cargo, we have to look into other segments, into other mode of transport. So we would have to take cargo away from railway organizations, which I think is not a good idea, to exchange one environmental friendly mode of transport with another environmental mode of transport is maybe not that what we should aim for, and it's politically also not well. And don't forget, railway organizations are always of national interest to politicians. So what we believe, where do we get our gains for in the future? It's going to be from the road transportation. That's where our business will come from. We think and we believe that multimodality, that the interconnection in between the different modes of transports, that's our future where we are aiming for. And that's why we need, according to us, we need two different things. The first thing is we need a functioning infrastructure in delivering this kind of services to the market. And then we have to connect this functioning infrastructure with digitalization. This is how we look into the future. And if we stock take what we have today available as technologies, as information sources for the inland navigation sector, then I put that in the cloud, so you can see we have the RIS, we have the EURIS, we have heard, we have the CEE RIS, we have the FIS portal, we have reporting systems. If we go a level lower on the vessel level, then we have transponders, we have VHF, we have internet, of course, on the vessels, we have sensors, we have GPS, we have radars, so we have all these kind of things. Paul Ivanov was already mentioned today, I think, from Nick. Some are very inventive. So we are using already virtual reality tools, running with glasses through the engine rooms if there are technical problems, and so on. So there's a lot. And then if you look on a horizontal level, you have then all the port planning systems, you have the lock planning systems, you have a demand planning, practically, of all the different horizontal services. So the question is, what can we use all of these tools which we have here? How can we use them in the most appropriate manner? And I think if we look at it, what we need to deliver in the future to the market, then we have an expectation standing on top of the pyramid. We have an expectation from the customer. The customer says, if I switch from road to IWD, you have to fulfill my 6 demands I have on logistics. That means deliver me the right cargo, deliver me the right quality, and at the right place, take it from the right place, bring it to the right place. Not a problem, I think, for river transportation. We can have the right cargo, we can check the quality, and we can bring it most of the time if the ports are maintained. We can also bring it to the right ports and pick it up from the right ports. But then there is the second 3 demands which the industry has, and that is bring also the right quantity, bring it at the right time, and bring it at the right cost. And there is where we are really struggling in the inland navigation ways, because the infrastructure is not there that we can really tell to a customer, listen, I mean, we bring you 1,000 tons or we bring you 1,500 tons. All of that depends at the end of the day. It depends practically on the navigability of the rivers. So what we think as private businesses and as business association is that every actor in order to get the transformation done in the future to switch the mode of transport, every actor has to look at his level at his playing field. And for us, the administrations are the solid base for all of the information. What we believe what we need is a single source of information. We need not 15 tools, 15 countries to log on somewhere and to find out where are the bottlenecks and so on. We need these bottlenecks delivered in real time, in basic information. We need it delivered also in 2 different ways, which is already complicated. We need it delivered to one side to the captains on the board, because he is in front of the situation, and the other part is that we in the offices, we also have to have access to this information, because with these informations, we can then make some predictions. And these predictions we would wish that are also coming, of course, from the governmental side. So, I mean, there are meteorological institutions and so on, so you can give the best forecast. We can use this 3 base information then afterwards to anticipate the transport chain. We can model the transport chain. We will know when we are where, and we can suddenly also exchange this kind of information into the different port operators. We don't believe this is job to do from the waterway administration to exchange this. I think this is the job of logistic providers to exchange in between the different actors in the logistic chain. And then we are actually combining all of these informations as a logistic provider and then further on transfer this information in a data transfer to our customers and integrate it in whatever system, what Nick said, in a warehouse management system, in the transport management system, or whatever. That is our belief. That is, I think, what it has to be. Thank you very much for your time. And open for questions afterwards in the panel.
You see, there are differences between the Danube estuary and the Rhine. There was actually a question, I had already written it down. How is the mobile broadband connection on the Danube? Is that because there was a question, to exchange all this, certainly when it comes from the wheelhouse, you need to have good mobile broadband coverage. How is that going on the Danube?
It's in practical terms, it's not a big issue.
Okay.
If we're talking about 5G, yes, it is, but 4G is available almost. I think there are no blank spaces any longer along the Danube.
All right, so that's getting considerably better then.
That's where we get our GPS positions from the vessels from. Okay. We don't get it from the AIS system, or we don't get it from any official authority systems. We get it from our own GPS systems.
So, but what you basically saying...
Which is a doubling of all the investments.
With Juris now available, with all, because you ask for like real-time data of how the infrastructure is running, Juris is providing that, or have you already taken a look at Juris?
Have taken a
serious?
Yes, but I think it's maybe for the panel afterwards. Okay. Otherwise, we're exceeding time.
We'll get back to that discussion.
Of course.
All right.